Hello and welcome to a new UAP talk. And I'm very, very glad to have Sarah Gamm here. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, everybody.
This has been a long time coming. I don't do many interviews on my channel, but I always wanted to have you on. And finally, yeah, I did. And finally, when we met in Soul Foundation, Italy, then I approached you, and then I had some other things to do. But now I'm ready. You're ready. Great. So let's go. Okay, Sarah. So I think that many of my viewers already know a little bit about you, or even many things about you. But for the benefit of the others, just let's dig in a little bit in your past, especially in your career and in your education. So, what's your career biography?
Yeah, that isn't a short response. My
Overview.
career has been yeah, my career has been an amazing curvy road. My background of education is in astrophysics and countering. My master's is in countering weapons of mass destruction. Pardon me. And I first started out after college working for NRO, National Reconnaissance Office with Lockheed Martin. I was in mission planning and mission operations for classified satellites. And so that was my first introduction into the intelligence community and, of course, the classified world, which I have barely left somehow. I don't know how nitty gritty you want to get, but I've worked for lots of different places. I've also supported NASA at one point as a consultant. I worked at NGA, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, for many jobs. I was an image scientist, image analyst, and a research scientist. And while at NGA is where I supported the UAP Task Force. I've worked at ODNI as a nuclear counterproliferation analyst and did nuclear work for the Pentagon. At the Pentagon for the Air Force at one point as well. And now I work for the Army 10 Cap office, tactical exploitation and national capabilities, something like that. Um, and I do some GeoInt analytical work for them.
So your resume sounds more like a gatekeeper than a whistleblower.
I it has been a very fortunate career. I'm astounded that I still have so much of my career to go and what I'm going to see and do in the future.
Yeah, but I assume you know a lot of things you are not allowed to talk about, not besides the UAP topic, of course. So I know you know your boundaries and lines, and I won't cross them. I'm just interested in what you are allowed to say and what you're able to say. So my next question is actually two questions. First, your personal interest in UAP. I know you also have a background in mediumship, but I like to concentrate in the UAP topic first. And second, what prompted you to come out to make you available for interviews?
Yeah, that's both good questions. The interest in UAP, UFOs has been a lifelong thing. I grew up on a farm. I'm a fourth generation farmer from Missouri,
Hmm.
and I always loved looking up at the stars and wondering what else was out there and who was looking back at us. And then X-Files came along. So from childhood, I have always had a connection to Mulder, and then that scientific brain in me was Scully.
Yeah.
And so I've always had this like conflicting, or not even conflicting, maybe I didn't, maybe it was a conflict at the time and now I know how to intertwine them, but I've
Mm.
always had this duality in me. Um, and then that love has just grown exponentially over the years of looking up. And when I was supporting the task force at NGA, I got paid to do that. I got paid to look at videos and do analysis and investigate. And it was a dream I had no idea that would ever be a thing. Like I didn't know I could even dream that when I was little. So it's just always been a lifelong passion. I can't believe that I'm, in a film saying we're not alone. And there'll be another film I'm in later this year as well. It should be released later this year. And it just astounds me. Like I never ever would have expected my younger self to know I was going to be here one day. So what prompted me to come forward, it was actually kind of an accident. I don't know. I guess that wasn't accident's not the right word, but I met James Fox. Pardon me, I'm getting over a
Yeah,
cold.
I know, no problem at all.
Yeah. So I met James Fox. A group of us met him for lunch one day while he was filming the program in Washington, D.C. And I just went to do a meet and greet. I was just interested in what he was doing, what he had to say. Never would have expected him to ask me to be on camera. Like, really, that was the last thing I thought would happen. And he asked me to be on camera. And I followed my gut. My gut said yes. And then he said, "Great, we have time tomorrow." And I was like, "Tomorrow? Oh, okay, I'm free tomorrow." And it literally happened like that. So after we filmed, it was probably an hour to an hour and a half or something was the total of what I was filmed. I remember getting in my car and calling a friend and saying, "What did I just do? Like
Yeah.
my life is going to be so different now." I've been hiding behind classified walls my whole career, and now I'm not going to be anymore. So I had a little bit of a breakdown of a panic, and but I'm lucky to have a lot of support and love around me. Lou Elizondo, like I've known him for years since I was on the task force. And so he has been a phenomenal coach through my journey on being public. And then whenever the film was coming out, I decided with a few people talking with them, it was better for me to come out publicly before the film's released. And I talked to James about it. So James and I had agreed on me coming out and doing things. So it still is a whirlwind, but it was like I'm a little fidgety because I'm remembering those emotions right now, and it was very nerve-wracking.
Sure. Was this also in the company of Logan at the time? Because Logan is also in the film, in the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Logan and I were at that same lunch with James.
Yeah, I thought so because I spotted Logan in the movie program, and I was in a chat about a UAP group. He was in, I was in. So I asked him in the group if he want to be if he want to come on my channel, and actually his first interview ever was on my channel. And
That's awesome.
I
That's really cool. I didn't know
do a
that.
lot. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of them, like I told you, but about a dozen. But his first interview was on my channel. Yeah, so I'm still in contact with him, and about his app and so on. I'm going to have him on the program on my channel again later. So that's very interesting. So you somehow stumbled into getting out and disclosing yourself. But let's go back a step to the task force. So you were analyzing videos and pictures mostly for them.
Yes, that's correct. I supported the task force from NGA, again, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. So that intel agency does the analysis of videos and satellite and in unclassified classified and unclassified imagery. And so I supported it from NGA. So we strictly looked at just the data.
Yeah. And you spoke in your interviews about some kind of net in the Pentagon where not everybody, but people who had the clearances had the possibility to view files somebody else, I don't remember who, in the last month talked about a kind of YouTube for the Pentagon. So that's where you picked up your files, or were they sent to you to analyze?
I'm not sure what you're referring
You
to.
in one of your interviews you said there was a group in what kind of online group in the Pentagon at the start it was just 200 people, something like
Yeah,
that.
no, it wasn't the Pentagon.
Okay.
No, okay, that's what I was confused about. So
I
no,
see.
it
I
wasn't the
thought.
Pentagon. It was a collaborative site,
Yes,
a collaborative web page and collaborative tools to
but for
get
people who
people
are
from all over
clearances,
the world
but people who have
that you have
clearances,
huh?
but for
Yeah,
people,
if you
yeah,
have the clearance
yeah,
and access to the
yes.
system,
I
then
see.
you could utilize these collaborative tools.
Mm, hmm.
Yeah.
But so this is a different thing from what you did for the task force.
Yes, yeah, they're two separate things. So the collaborative side and the task force side are two separate buckets. But the task force also worked with the collaboration space, and so they would, pull data or ask questions and work together. So they were two separate things, but sometimes they overlapped.
Hmm. Maybe that's a good point to jump ahead a little bit. We come back to the history later. But right now, the Pentagon has, or the Department of War, has released about 70, 80 files of UAP videos. Are there any of them that you recognize? And is this the same kind of stuff you were analyzing?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Mm.
recognize quite a bit. I would say this more recent drop, I recognize less, but cases were familiar because I know some of the FBI
Mm.
team that has been doing investigating. So the cases were familiar to me, but some of the data was new, if that makes sense.
Mm.
But the first two drops, there was quite a few familiar videos and images for me that was it was a proud moment seeing some of those things that were familiar and now they're out in the public. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
This is exactly, I know some of the data wasn't a UAP, right? Like they were quickly debunked, but the people still got to see them. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So it was a good little boost of validation, and then keep going and keep speaking out and keep speaking the truth. And sometimes good things come from that.
Yeah.
Um, I can't say which videos I did see or possibly helped with. My security officer said no to that, but it's still really exciting to see some things familiar.
So, but you're in a perfect position to answer a question I always have. I'm always defending those videos. People, go around, there's nothing to see, blurry, blah, blah, blah. But I also always defend them because they are official and they have an official stamp of UAP, which means people like you or others uh, did couldn't conclude it was normal in any way. So my question is this conclusion I drew correct? If they put out a stamp like saying it's a UAP, that means they couldn't figure out what it is. And the second question is, I suppose you've seen the material without the redactions. So do those data sets without the redactions support that those are unknowns?
Um, yes and no.
Mhm.
So some of the videos that were released, I think, and I'm an optimist, so I should lead with this. If people that are watching this that don't know who I am an optimistic person. So I will err on the side of the positive response to a lot of things, and sometimes I realize it's maybe naive optimism. But I think at one point all of the videos somebody might have said this is unidentified, and so they released them. And there was the one with the flare, the parachute, and you could see the smoke in it. I think that was in the second
But
drop.
it isn't a
um
parachute. It isn't a
Yeah.
parachute. It's a lens
Uh,
artifact.
yeah. So it's there's things like that that I think were deemed at one point unidentified, but over time there's been enough information to say this is either inconclusive
Yeah.
or it's a blimp or dirigible or a bird or whatever. So I truly think at one point all of them were labeled as unidentified. So what's
Yes.
frustrating to me with all of these drops is there is no metadata, like you pointed out.
Mm, mm,
And as a scientist, you can't look at data without with just the picture with the face value. You have to look at everything around it. I mean, even have the date to look up
yeah.
the weather data
Yeah.
would have been handy with these.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That's also the problem with all the Arrow releases in the last 2 years. It was just something, and you could never put. But my question was, you could see most of it or some of it without metadata. So if you know the metadata, it helps concluding that it's mostly something unknown.
Yeah, I mean, having the metadata, you could look
I
up
mean,
a lot of
concrete, not in general. In the cases you have seen personally.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So you know more about the sensor. You could pick up.
Mhm.
You could possibly rule out parallax because you know the sensor speed, the direction, the coordinates. You know more information with the metadata, so you could rule out something that might look like it's at, I don't know, 10,000 feet in
Yeah.
altitude, or we'll say kilometers. Sorry, audience. Um, So we could say
Actually,
10,000 kilometers
actually
in
in flight.
altitude.
So sorry. Actually, in flight, we also use feet. I don't know why. Maybe for
Oh,
international
that's so
reasons.
funny.
No, it's like
That's
you use kilometers in some contexts. It's
yeah,
or millimeters if you have a rifle or something. So whatever.
yeah, that's really funny. So like when you have the metadata, you're able to calculate altitude,
Yeah.
speed, and all of that. So you could rule out a little bit of parallax. Like sometimes and a bird is flying, but it looks like it's traveling really fast because the background looks like it's going a
Mm,
little bit faster than the foreground. But it's actually just a bird, and the sensor is making it seem like it's going really fast and it's a UAP. So having all of that really does help with the analysis. And it's unfortunate that the government couldn't provide at least a little smidgen of
yeah.
extra data
Yeah.
behind the videos.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion on the one which is I don't know what it's called, but it's the with the instant acceleration? Do you have an opinion on that one?
I loved that one. That one actually, of there was two that I would say that really got piqued my interest
Mm,
on deeming it unidentified.
mm.
I mean, of course, again, no metadata, but that one was incredible. The because you're talking about the one that looks kind of like a cigar or something, like, and it goes really fast.
Uh, I meant the one. Well, there are two actually, but I meant the one where you where the whatever you call the sensor tries to pick it up, and when it finally locks in on it,
Oh yeah, that
it
one was
zooms
good.
around.
Yes. The
Yeah,
Syria one. So that
yeah,
was the one where they slowed it down and
yeah,
changed the contrast a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, love that one. I think
I mean, the
the even
camera
the
stops. That's you can see that the camera
Mhm.
stops, but the camera doesn't move away, so it's not parallax. This has been, but
Yes.
maybe it looks faster than it was because the camera stops. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
actually,
So
it
I
looks
agree.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with all of that. But I would deem that as unidentified.
Mm, mm,
Especially without having any more background data
yeah.
behind it. The person that put the video together did a phenomenal job
Mm,
of doing the different contrasts
mm,
and the slowing it down, and I mean, and zooming in. They did such a good job that yeah, how do you deny what you're seeing? Like you said, like it kind of rules out parallax a little bit. Like you do get a little bit of like shadowing because it is a FLIR, the thermal
yeah.
camera, but it's not a relevant enough artifact for me to deem it as a sensor anomaly. I love that one. I think that's a really good example of potentially unidentified.
And the other ones you love?
The one, I don't know if this was a serial one or not, but it was like it was the one that accelerated, like where my hand is. It goes like really far, really fast across towards the bottom of your screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a cigar shape.
Mm.
And somebody said they thought it was a missile. I'm like, if it was a missile, you would have missile warning and missile detection systems. So why would you classify a video as unidentified if you had all of these sensors already?
Right.
Because I know in these areas those sensors exist. So that one I also got very excited about.
Mm-hmm. That's the other point I always make against skeptics and debunkers. If it was your own technology, you would have found out. If it was foreign technology, probably you would have found out. And both you wouldn't show the public. I mean, you wouldn't show, if it's your own technology, you wouldn't release it. And if it's foreign,
spot on.
And if it's foreign technology, you don't know yet, you wouldn't release it. You just release things that are really not explainable to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't release it.
Yep. Yeah. So spot on. I agree.
Thank you. I'm just a layman in those things, but anyway.
But not everybody thinks like that, though, so they need to hear it.
Yeah, many people on my channel are quite open for disclosure and also for disclosure from above. Maybe we will talk about that later. But some say nothing can come from above, blah, 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 and it's all fake, whatever. And I'm not trying to convince anybody, but I try to make arguments that make logical sense to me, and that's one of them, because you wouldn't release it if it's known to you. Okay, so Lou Elizondo once was asked how much of what he knows he already shared and could share. And I'm not quite sure, it was below 10%. It was something like 2% or something, he said. And recently also Jeremy Corbell was asked the releases of the Pentagon right now, how he would rank them from the best videos he knows of, 1 to 10. And he said he would give those videos now maybe 1 or 2. What's your estimation of what you have seen? What now has been released, ranking to 10 perfect
yeah.
videos?
From what I have seen, so of course I'm not Lou, right? Lou got to see quite a bit more than I did. Yeah. I just supported the task force from a small little pocket, small little corner on it. I would say, I mean, I've seen crystal clear imagery. I mean, I haven't seen like little aliens on the imagery waving. I wish I would have, but that would be really cool. But I have seen very clear images and data that's, kind of like the video that we talked about earlier, the Syria one, where it slowed down and the contrast, where it's like that pretty much seems unidentified. I've seen stuff where it's more convincing than that, where you just look at it. Of course, you have to look at it a couple of times because you feel like your mind's playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
But it's no questions that's not from Earth. So percentage, though, I always hate giving numbers because I never, in the moment when I was doing the work, I never put it in a bucket like that. So, I mean, on a scale, okay, how about scale of 1 to 10, 10 being
the best possible thing
you see aliens waving at you.
Well, no, of what you saw, the best of you have ever seen compared to that. On which level are the releases we have seen?
I'm going to say I'm going to use a scale. If 10 is the best that's out there, I think I've probably seen 7 or 8. And I think what has been released right now would be at a 4 to 5.
Oh, that's still better than other people. Because
I like that. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that scale I just came up with. Okay.
Because also one thing I always say, you have to look closely, and many people don't do this. For example, there's one orb above the mountains in one of the releases, and it's interesting because it's consistent flight for a long time, and then it's in the clouds after 6-7 minutes or something, and then they change the camera to normal, and it's gone. And then they change it back to infrared, and it's there again. So this sequence alone would show you this is a special object, which is not visible in the normal spectrum, at least with those camera they used. And you can switch it on and off, which means it's invisible for the normal eyes. And alone, a sequence like this should convince people that those releases are interesting. But, you know, who has the time and the stamina to look through all of them, also with the interesting eyes? Yeah. So I guess nobody will be ever satisfied with.
Nope, I agree. I've said even if I had, an alien come here and we both have our coffee mugs and cheers each other, people will still say that's AI. They will still complain. They will still say, I want more. So I think this is going to still be a little bit of a slow rollout for folks to be on board with all this, because the government's lied for so long. Why believe them now?
So let's go a little bit back in the timeline. So you came out, you all came in front of the whole thing by doing interviews. Was there ever any pushback in your career, and maybe also from, Men in Black, dark forces, and whatever?
I'll say overall no pushback. When I start a new job, one of the first things I let people know is I'm a public figure for disclosure.
Yeah.
And they, of course, say, what's a UAP? And so I let government change the name from UFO to UAP. And they're like, okay, we don't care. Like, do they ask you any information about your job? Like, no. Don't speak on behalf of, Army Corps of Engineers, who I'm working for right now. And no one cares. So the first thing I do is talk to security, and I talk to the lawyer for the office that I work in, just to make sure I'm okay to discuss everything, and no one's cared. I have encountered an issue because of some people trying to discredit and slander me. So that has hit some issues with my clearance, because they were able to potentially talk to, I don't know, the right person. I don't know the chain of command and what happened, but I have been suffering potential threats of not potential threats. They are threats. I don't know why I'm trying to make this fluffy, but I'm still facing threats of my clearance being pulled and my job being
because of you coming out, or because of the other things like mediumship?
No, because of the coming out and the slander and people saying horrible things about me. And I all I could do is assume that they told the right person, and that person, instead of looking into me, they didn't like what they were hearing and put me down as a threat. I have, currently right now, my career's at risk because of this.
Okay. Now I won't drive deeper in it. That's okay for me. I just wanted to clear it up. So it's more a threat to your career and not really a personal threat like other whistleblowers experienced.
Oh, it's been both. So I've had personal threats as well. Okay. Messages from people like on anonymous accounts, and then the accounts are deleted by the right after I read the message, telling me I'm a lying, and then cuss words, and I should kill myself, I should off myself, I'm a disinformation agent, my entire life is a lie. I've had personal attacks, nothing like some of the other people where their families have been threatened. Thankfully not that, but my career is at risk as well. I mean, my career is at risk every time I do an interview, because if I say the wrong thing and I slip up and I say something classified, then my career is gone.
Yeah, sure.
But what these people did to me career wise, unacceptable. I don't know why they wouldn't have reached out to talk to me, because that's an easy thing to do.
Mm.
But I'm facing it now, and I'm talking to some politicians and my state senator and some congress people, some congressmen, on alerting the issue that this is not okay.
Yeah. Well, they are just recently spoke a lot about whistleblower protection. So yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
this applies to you too. Well, interesting. And well, but everybody who goes into the space and in the open will face all those that you have. Well, maybe you're more of an insider, so you face it more. But Jesse Michaels, for example, recently stated that from the one side he gets threats, also some kind of threats, not to disclose more, not to work more in this field. And on the other side, he gets people telling him, you are a government agent and you are a disinformation agent, and so you get both. I guess most of
Yeah.
the people get.
Yeah, it's exhausting. But
Yeah.
luckily, throughout all of this, I have never had one issue, not one, being a medium at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay.
no one's cared, and it has been so wonderful.
I'd like to come back to that, but to conclude your coming out story, on the one hand, you got problems, of course, but on the other hand, I guess you got new friends, new support. You're always at Seoul and at the Washington event where you sky watched, and so you have found a community of people who are into this now.
Yeah, I feel so blessed when I meet new friends that quickly become family all the time.
Mm,
I just, got back, well, was it 2 weeks ago now?
I guess,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, 3 weeks ago was Contact in the Desert
Mm,
in Palm Springs, California. And just the environment there, it was a good recharge. It was so
mm,
positive. It was so much love and support. And no matter where you went, that love was right there for you. And I mean, I cried. I started tearing up packing, leaving Contact, because I didn't want to leave the love that was
mm,
there.
mm,
And I literally started crying though as I was putting
mm,
stuff in my suitcase, just because of the warmth and the love and the
mm,
support. It's so easy to forget that when you're getting messages about how fake you are, and that's far from who
mm.
I am.
Yeah.
Like, what you see is what you get with me, and to
I,
get
I,
all of
I
these
have
like
this
character
feeling 100%.
defamation.
I have this feeling
Yeah.
100%. You're absolutely authentic. Well, even in Soul Foundation, which was more of a black tie event, even
Yeah.
there, I just looked around and I thought, okay, this is now what, 300, 400 people, and maybe not everybody is a believer in everything, but in general, they are all here and they are mm, like
Yeah.
people from
The
business and
yeah.
and they
It was
all
amazing. I
yeah.
loved Seoul in Italy.
Mm,
That was such a good conference. I love the location, of course. The location was beautiful, but meeting so many international people were a wonderful, another breath of fresh air,
yeah.
to know how much attention this is getting
Mm,
worldwide, and to meet that love that is shared from, across the ocean, across bodies of water, was really cool.
yeah, yeah. I liked it also very much. It wasn't far from Vienna, so that was handy for me. So, before we get into current events, we did a little bit. Just we touched on you also being a medium. Maybe you can recap this story. I know you got talent very early, and you had encounters even as a child. Just what you want to share. So, just we have an overview and a sense of this side.
Yeah. So my whole life, like you just said, I have encountered ghosts and had ghost yeah, experiences. So I ended up with a near-death experience in May of 2012. And soon after that, I started developing psychic abilities. Psychic things were happening to me, didn't understand it, and that eventually um, grew into not knowing how to control it, not knowing what was happening to me. I mean, I freaking out was an understatement. I was terrified. I did not know what was going on. So I reached out to a
But
psychic
what was it?
medium.
What was it? Was it telepathic or foresight or what?
Oh, so my most of my life, I've had loved ones come to me in a
Yes.
dream. Usually it was my grandmother.
Yeah.
She would come visit whenever I needed her,
Mm,
or if she had a message to share. And then it grew into other loved ones would come, but they would
mm,
always be like people I knew. It would
mhm.
be other
But
grandparents
yeah,
or
yeah.
relatives or
But after you
friends or whatever.
experience, yeah. But after your
Yeah.
your near-death experience,
Oh
what?
no, that was before. My whole life I've had
I know.
loved
So why I
ones.
wanted to ask what changed? What
Yeah,
did you
so I'm
got
yes,
new?
getting there.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay. So,
I after the near death experience, when
mm,
I started having psychic things happen, all of a sudden somebody else's loved one came to me,
mm,
and this person, I was in grad school and working full time at the time, and the person's relative, I barely knew who this person was. And I knew everything about the relative. I knew what she smelled like. She wore pearls. She
mm,
parted her hair. She didn't speak English, but somehow we still spoke
mm,
telepathically, and I knew everything she was saying, but it wasn't English. I was freaking out. And so eventually I asked the person, like, so is this your grandma on your dad's side? She said this to like this message for you. And they were angry at me, thinking I was utilizing, intelligence community
mm,
tools to
mm,
research them. And I'm
mm,
like, first off, you're not that important, and that's illegal.
mm,
But I was freaking out, and everything I got was true, and he was really upset that I somehow knew all of this.
mm,
And I'm like, dude, this is happening to me. And so that's when I got an appointment with a psychic medium. I had briefed the director of NSA, National Security Agency. He's four-star general. So I briefed the director of NSA one day, and then left that to go to my psychic medium appointment. And that's where she told me I could be in her seat. And so that was the start of that journey.
mhm. So what else besides having contact to deceased people encompasses your newfound abilities?
um, I find it a little bit limitless. My science life, my science-driven life that I've always had has been bound by equations and the scientific method and hypotheses and proving that. And now it's a little bit limitless. I have had, when I do client readings, psychic mediumship readings, I take on symptoms of how their loved one died. I have felt my heart explode. I have, one of my readings was for a retired Marine, and he lost a brother in arms in, Iraq.
Mm,
And I was first person looking at a leg, one of my legs that was not connected to my body,
yeah.
and an arm because he was in an explosion. And then, but even though I'm looking at my leg not near my body, I felt so much pride in what I was doing and so much love for my brothers. And it's pretty incredible. I've taken on so many symptoms.
Mm,
But I could also use all your clairs, like clairaudient, clairsentient, so I could hear, I could taste, smell. Clairvoyant is the knowing. Um, Sometimes people, like my other classmates or others, get jealous of how much sensory input I get,
mm,
but also it kind of sucks because, like, if I tap into
yeah.
somebody, that passed away from, gastrointestinal issues. I
Mm.
have that problem too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I heard it from other credible mediums. Yeah, you can sometimes tell them that they feel what they see. But, but other than that, just curious, are there other abilities you seem to have or around you, like, telepathy, casual telepathy, or something like telekinesis, or something psychokinesis, or something like I don't know, apparitions, or I mean apports, or something, stuff like this also happening. Because what I mean is, I don't want to sensationalize this, but to my experience, also talking to people who have abilities, once you cut or rip the veil in any direction, all these other things also seem to pour out of this.
Yeah, no, it does. That is accurate. Um, I have been told that I have telekinesis. I've tried. It's really difficult to start learning, especially to like shut the world off
Mm.
all around you and really focus. I've only been able to like manipulate, flame a little bit and a few like small things, but
Mm.
nothing big. But I haven't tried in a few years. I do know how to bend spoons. I'm not like Yuri Geller level, but I can bend spoons. And then I'm trying to think. I've never thought about it like this before of like what else has happened. Um, but I do have experiences with like orbs and stuff like that. Like I've had orbs in my house in the past few years, or if I'm hiking by myself, I'll have orbs literally feet from me on the hiking
Mm.
trail, and parts where I joke that there's certain areas that I hike in my favorite place that I go to, where there's fairies.
Mm.
And I can't make this up, where I'm joking about the fairies being there, these orbs show up once in a while.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's just my energy or what, my belief, or
Mm.
the joking, but so it's interesting what ends up manifesting and develops. I can even say like after trips, like my trip to Egypt in November of 2024, I came back being able to see different entities around me than I ever had before.
Mm. Mm. Because when you mentioned fairies, I was smiling because I once had an experience. I didn't make much of it, but it was a sparkle flying through the air far away in the town. And it was in the nighttime, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't feel it was very special, but there was no normal explanation with it. It went about 20 or 30 yards and in a straight line. And it was no sound, no smell, and it didn't fall down. So it wasn't, it was like the sparkle coming off a small rocket you would shoot at a birthday or something like this. But it was in the middle of town, winter, nobody shot a rocket. So, and then I went to a conference for UAP and also for more consciousness-based stuff. And when I told the story to somebody, somebody replied, maybe it was a fairy. And I didn't think about that before, but nothing else make much sense. So maybe this sparkle was a kind of fairy. But how do they look to
Yeah.
you? Also in this kind, or how would you describe what you've seen?
Yeah, I do know the sparkles are associated with fairies.
Mm.
So it definitely
Okay.
could be true. I have seen during a ghost hunt. So I used to do ghost hunts
Yes.
a few years ago with a friend. He wouldn't tell me where he would be going, and I would tap in as a medium.
Ah, okay.
And there were pixies
Mm-hmm.
that were a part of the ghost hunt, and you could even see, and so pixies are a little bit more um energetic.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but they'll like, knock over a trash can just to make,
Mm-hmm.
just for fun. And
Mm-hmm.
so they get up to a little bit of no good. more than fairies do. But some pixies showed up during our ghost hunt, and you could even see them on the SLS camera. So because they're really small and they're really fast, and it was really cool. I had never expected for like the pixies to show up and then also show up on the cameras, which was really neat on the sensors.
So what I love, and that's one part I love about you and your coming out, is those spectrum. You know, you have been working as an astrophysicist, physicist, and sensor analyst in high level. Well, in I don't know what your level is, and I'm not asking, but in a very secretive surroundings and intelligence agencies, and you have clearances and all that, and you have a scientific mind, you have all this you studied a lot about science, and you're into that. And on the other hand, we are here talking about pixies, and I love that those things can come together, and at places like Skinwalker Ranch, they seem to come together a lot. By the way, have you ever been to Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I have not. I definitely want to go. That would be amazing. Some good friends were just there visiting, Tim and Karen Gallaudet.
Mm.
They loved it, and that has inspired me to try to help, manifest and get myself there one day.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I met Tim also in
Yeah, it's
Solfan.
all, yeah, such wonderful people. I'm also like so
Yeah.
blessed to have them and support and commiserate once, some negative stuff
Mhm.
happens. So they're amazing people.
So let's go into current event. We already got into the evaluation of the stuff that the Pentagon put out. Well, they also put out historic information and some
Amazing.
letters. Yeah, the point. Much of the stuff has already been out, like the NASA information. Most of this has been out, but for me, the one major point is it's just on one spot right now. You don't have to look in the archive of the FBI, the archive of the CIA, or the archive of NASA. You just look at this one spot on a central spot, and you have it all. And the other thing I got from it is that finally we can bury this big old lie that the government never looked into it after Project Blue Book, because many of the documents in there are from between 70s and today, and even before the OSEP program got known. So we see, yeah, CIA, FBI, everybody looked in it all the time. So that's what my sense is. This one is those two things are the most important for me. One, central information for everybody to see in the Department of War, in the Department of Defense, of all places, not some remote platform anywhere.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that, yes, we have an interest. Yes, we always had an interest. And yes, we don't really know what it is. So what's your take on
Yeah.
the releases?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's amazing. Still, even with these three releases, my favorite thing has been the Apollo photos.
Mm-hmm.
I have loved seeing those photos from the moon with those objects in the sky, and of
Mm-hmm.
course they highlight them and amplify them. Uh, how incredible. And like you said, we did have the transcripts from that before. I love having it all in one repository. The historical data that has been released in this tranche and then the previous one as well is phenomenal. The Sandia, the scientist talking about, is this ball lightning? Is this? And they're trying to discount. And this is a time when a lot of the physics is new. Classical physics hasn't really been around that long,
Mm-hmm.
especially in relative to Earth and like thinking about the pyramids and stuff like that. So a lot of the physics was new when
Mm-hmm.
they were discussing this in the 40s and the 50s. And to have that in documentation and release now is just incredible. And then this recent release had some things, the CIA, I believe it was some reports from the 40s,
Yeah.
from 1949.
Yeah.
And just to think, like, I'm my brain's going down a track of the lies that we've been told. So Arrow and NASA have both told us many times that there's nothing to see here. We have no historical data. We've never looked into this. And now that's not true. I know, like, some John Kidd just recently came out and apologized and said, that this wasn't true then, and I'm apologizing for this
Which
now for
John?
Arrow.
Which John?
Um,
Kozlowski?
yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So he did recently come out and, apologize, and I think that was a part of the recent drop. But um, it's been an amazing repository, even though I know people aren't happy, and I don't think they won't ever be. But this is an amazing step. I mean, disclosure has started. The whole point of disclosure back when, in 2017, when all this really started, was having the government acknowledge and provide some classified data, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I'd like to go into the why, but before that, I want to underline what you just said. One of my favorite pieces is from the Department of Energy. They released a picture of the jellyfish incursion in their atomic repair plant, whatever you call it, and this was known, but just hearsay. I think 1 year or two ago, Corbell and Knapp spoke about it, and they had some witnesses who described a jellyfish object flying through this highly guarded
Yeah, that
plant.
was a balloon. That was cluster of balloons from their video. Yeah.
No, I don't want. No. That's not what I mean. I know you. There has been some controversy. Just spare it. No, that's not what I mean. They spoke in a separate video about exactly this incident at what's it called, Pentex, something like this. And
in the DOE report.
Yes, and the DOE report confirmed that. They spoke to witnesses at the time, I think 2 years ago, something like that, and somebody described the jellyfish object floating through the Pentex plant, which is highly guarded, and of course because of all the missiles there and so on. And Corbell and Knapp said there are photos and there are videos, and then DOE showed a PDF without any explanation, just saying object located at the Pentex plant, and it looks like a jellyfish.
Yeah, it's so cool. So that is, jellyfish is a type of UAP.
Yeah.
And so I got excited as well. I think it was that second release where it looked like in the task force days, you would kind of nickname videos or you would categorize something. And my brain's going back to Jetpack Man. So there's some UAPs that look like a man with the jetpack on it. And I know that has been frequently seen in the Los Angeles area. And people have that in recording, but there's definitely the jellyfish. And I love the DOE, what you brought up. That one was really good too.
But without explanation. If I wouldn't have known this information before from some videos and 2 years ago, that's why I did a whole video about this on my channel, because this was just a blurry picture without any explanation. It just stated the location. And if you knew the rumors before, and I don't know all the sightings and all the crashes and whatever, but I knew that one. So I picked this up and put it together. So we have now witnesses 2 years ago describing that, and now have the picture, but they didn't say it in the description. That was a jellyfish object floating through our towers. That they didn't say that. They just put out they're very, very cautious in what they're putting out. So that leads me to the next question. What's your feeling why this is happening. I have some
Why?
feelings. Why
Yeah.
is this
I
really,
mean, why not? I think the time in the world right now is gaining momentum on quantum studies being done proving that time is not real at the quantum level, which the spiritual community has been saying that for decades, hundreds of years. And there's quantum studies proving trees talk to each other, that plants have consciousness, water has consciousness. Dr. Veda Austin has done significant amount of studies and experiments proving that water has consciousness. So I think now is the time for all of this meaning, consciousness and NHI and UAPs, because they're all one, right? They're all married together, that this is all happening because the world is moving in such a fast pace right now, and realizing quantum entanglement is real, that it's all happening around us, even though it's been happening our whole lives for hundreds and thousands of years. We just forgot that we worked with them as in NHI. And so now's the time for us to start remembering again.
Yeah, I feel so too. But more on the political, more on the government level. Why do you think they do it? There are theories like, planned disclosure, soft disclosure. On the other hand, they say they are forced to, because now some people are pressuring it, politicians, but also other people. So what's your sense? Maybe informed sense, or just your gut feeling?
I think the government is doing it now because they have to. The public has been speaking loudly, and there's reporters like Ross Coulthart that are going to speak the truth no matter what, and a huge proponent on disclosure. And the government has gotten to a point now where they can't deny it anymore. They're getting so much pressure, and then the politics, like, who wouldn't want to be the president saying, here's the data and here's what we know? I think it's an amazing thing of what Trump's doing. Do I agree with all of what Trump does? No, of course not. It's politics. No matter who's the president, I won't agree with all of the things that they do. But who wouldn't want to be known and be down in history as the president who's provided disclosure? But I think it'll still be the public who is going to be the front runner on figuring this all out and having disclosure, and then applying more pressure to the government.
There are also those people who say, yes, they're putting out lots of stuff, but most of it is nonsense or not interesting. They want to dilute the interest of the people into the UAP. Just, flood the zone, and so everybody's disappointed and doesn't want to know anymore. Are you aware of a bigger plan, either to have a soft disclosure or to dilute this, the information and make people numb to it? Just, are you well, you can also tell me if you think so, but are you aware, because you're insider, are you aware of a big plan, either direction?
No, I am not that cool. No, I have no idea what the plan is. I feel like a lot of times, and this is of course my opinion, that because I know no plans, that it's just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Sarah Connor and Terminator movie, just shooting from the hip and trying to survive. And that's kind of what is happening. Like, these releases haven't really had a theme or anything. I'm hopeful that there'll be more crash retrieval forward-coming and body recovery, that is going to happen. But it's just, I have no idea what the plan is.
Yeah. my biggest complaint about most of the people who believe in conspiracy theories is it's always too complicated. It's too complicated, and it's also fixed. Some high power knows exactly what to do, and they have this plan, and this plan to, I don't know, subjugate us or whatever. Yeah, and in my experience, life is just much more chaotic. It's things are happening. Some journalists takes the thing top of the drawer just because it's on the top of the drawer and do something about it. And and people in government are also people, so they are pressured to do some. My opinion, it's not chaotic disclosure what people are talking about, but it's a chaotic conglomerate of things going on and happening. But well,
Yeah.
it's
Which
just my outside view.
I'm sure that's intentional to say, look over here. And of course, there's the Epstein files to not look over here and do all of this. And then Iran and like so much happening in the world that, yeah, I agree. I think there's a little bit of, disinformation or chaos that has been provided to us, but there's still some really good stuff too.
Yeah. And as many people also said, of course, it is a distraction, but it can be a distraction and it can be true also, and also moving the whole information. So
we could read the newspaper and eat at the same time.
For example, if you don't mind, I would like to go in some of the questions I asked my channel members if they have questions for you. Many topics we already touched on, but well, maybe let me make this a quick round. You can give short answers. So one question was, what do you think about the case of McCasland? And do you think that he was taken out by your own people because he seemed to start to have signs of dementia and was a risk of talking?
Yeah, very sad. And yes, I think the government had a hand in what happened to him. They as in the government, has been murdering people for decades to cover things in this topic, and this topic being UAPs, but also the nuclear world as well. It's nothing new for this to be happening, but what is new are people noticing, and they're putting the puzzle pieces together and making it known that they're noticing, which I love. The government, so I've said before, I don't remember what channel I've said this on, but a part of disclosure needs to have the government apologizing to a lot of people for what they've done. They have also murdered children because of them having abilities, and that's another beast and another story. But it is so sad what has happened in this topic for decades and been covered up. So yeah, I think it is so horrible what happened to him, what happened to the colonel, what has happened to so many scientists lately that people have uncovered. That yes, I think the government had a hand in it. Again, personal opinion, right?
Yeah, of
Don't
course.
know for a fact.
No. Of course. So another question was, to your opinion, does the government, in the broad sense, institutions, whoever, do they have better UAP videos? Well, you said yes, of course. Do they have knowledge of NHI? And will they comply with the release that has been going on now and has been ordered in some kind of way?
I don't have firsthand knowledge like what David Grush claims of having NHI and bodies and that whole category, but I know from many people that we do, what he's said is true. But again, not my firsthand account, so I can't speak directly to that. But I mean, you look at Brazil case. The bodies disappeared after the U.S. came in. Where'd they go? I know James Fox is still working hard on uncovering that and spending so much time and, money and effort onto that situation. So yeah, we have a lot better data. We have aircraft, we have recovered bodies, and tortured. And I was watching Disclosure Day. I know this isn't what you asked, but I did get to see Disclosure
Yeah, we
Day
can talk
last
about it
night,
if you want to. Yeah,
and
yeah. I saw it
I
Tuesday.
cried a lot.
I
Yeah,
saw it
I
Tuesday.
cried more than I thought I
Yeah,
would,
yeah.
because so much of the movie was true,
Mm,
of having these bodies. And could you imagine
mm,
being stuck on a planet? Oh, you won't ever see your family again or friends, and you're being tortured and mutilated. I just, oh my gosh, I cried some big tears watching the
mm,
movie. Um, but yeah, so we have all of that, and we've had it for decades. Who knows if the government's ever going to come out and say that? I mean, I continue to do these interviews and to talk in hopes that they do, because of my
mm.
optimism, but do realize that that might not ever happen.
So, well, this answers the question if they will comply. So maybe they will, but maybe they won't. I
Mhm.
see. I forgot to mention who said it. It's just a small shout out. The first question was from Thomas. The second was from Lonnie. And now Erwin wants to know, but I think we answered it already. Do you think that consciousness is the key to everything of all of that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is all one, and we are it, and it is us, and it is love.
Yeah, it is probably, but no, surely it is. And his follow-up question is, do you think all the phenomena we are witnessing have one cause, or are there different aspects, like extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, whatever?
I I don't know what you mean. Can you ask
All,
again?
all what we are witnessing in phenomena, craft, beings, whatever, is this all, has it all one cause, or could this be different stuff from different areas, like interdimensionals and
Mhm.
extraterrestrials?
Okay, thank you. Yes, and yes, it is all one, and it is also the interdimensional. So I was doing a ghost hunt a few years ago,
Mhm.
and an NHI showed up during the ghost hunt. And
Mm,
what I described was, I forget exactly what it was now, but it was really tall, and it had like really, really long fingers. And I don't think it had 5 fingers either, but it was just really tall and lean.
mm,
And I told the person, because I'm remote, right? I'm not in the
yeah.
location. I told the individual with the sensors, with the camera, to like pan to your left. And when
Mhm.
she moved, the SLS camera showed exactly what I described. And even how the entity, it was like, because it was so tall, it was kind of like hunkering over. And it even showed that on the camera. So that to me is validation that this really truly is all one. And everything is, interdimensional, and there's telepathy, and it's just everything's energy. So when you think about
Mhm.
physics, everything is energy, everything has heat, everything's a black body radiator, and this is just another form of energy. We just can't see it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So the next question touches on the same thing actually. Lonnie and Triple Music 7 asked, what your view on UAP and NHIs as a medium, but you kind of answered that already. Do you have a different
Yeah.
view, like a scientist would have? Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
because
I think most of them are of love and light. I have had my very first encounter with an NHI during a meditation was many years ago. It was an Arcturian that came to me, and I freaked out, but I also didn't freak out at the same time, like, because their energy was so loving and supportive. But internally, I'm like, what is happening? Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So, like, I was freaking out in a good way. And then since then, I've had multiple other races come and talk with me and let me know that they're here and support. I've had a physical being in my room one night that I have talked about publicly.
Yeah.
I don't know what race it was, but it was
Well,
very
I
protective.
don't remember. Was this Blue Warrior? No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
blue being.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. Spot on. Good job.
No, thank you.
And I I love the support we have galactically around us. And why not? Like, why would we be the only intelligent species in infinite amount of space? So I think it's incredible of my position, my science brain always
Hmm.
knowing we're not alone, and now my spiritual side validating that science brain and being able to experience life from this outside the science bubble.
Hmm.
Um, I think I could stop there. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, that's great because actually this ties into the next questions I have here on my sheet. Because recently, 2 days ago, the Israeli general Haim came out in after 6 years of quiet, talking to Uri Geller about his experiences about Galactic Federation, also about Men in Black harassing him. And on this conference, I talked about, which was also spiritual. Everybody talked about Galactic Federation and about this race and this race and that race. And you also mentioned that one experience seemed to be Arcturian. So, do you believe in this concept of this Galactic Federation and different alien beings, which with names like Arcturians, I don't know, Venusians, and whatever what they are called? Because this is a fringe, a part even in ufology. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they're so some of I'll call it some of the Kool-Aid I have consumed, and some of it I haven't. I'm still a skeptic on. I have in some meditations I've seen where there's spaceships and there's different kind of like Star Wars.
Mm,
There's the Star Wars the bar scene where it's
mm,
very diverse and there's all different kinds of things. Like I've seen that in meditations, and then I've taken some spiritual classes from a galactic Akashic reader,
mm,
and she's also said, the bar scene in Star Wars is true.
mm,
So I think there's more races than we really know about, but yes, I think there is a galactic federation, and the point of them is to one of the things is to help life. I wanted to say humans, but life in
mhm,
general, and to help make sure we survive. I don't know.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I
I
understand.
haven't
Yeah,
had
yeah.
I haven't drank the Kool-Aid because I know Ashtar Command is a big thing. I haven't quite drank all of that Kool-Aid yet on the whole Ashtar stuff, because there's some things where Ashtar is really good, and then some stories where he's really bad and he is manipulative.
Uh,
So I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid, but the
I didn't
Galactic
hear about
Federation,
that.
yes.
I didn't hear about that, but I heard about wars going on between reptilians and whatever, and we're in the middle of it. And uh, I'm open to everything, but I didn't see anything yet that would, yeah, lead me to believe it in a physical sense, in a spiritual sense, and whatever people channel, okay. But I'd have to see more to believe it. But
Yeah.
the question about Galactic Federation was by Nicole, and 77 Spirit also has something to add. So what you believe, if you can answer that, would be the highest race, if you will, and which, I don't know, I'm understanding this correctly, and which are the highest dimensions they could reach. I just report what he says. And why aren't they showing themselves in a more broad sense on Earth?
There's a lot of different things.
Okay.
Part of the question. So what the first part of the question? Okay, I'll
do
answer.
you have a hierarchy? Do you know about the
Yeah.
hierarchy of beings? And
So
are some of them in the highest level also reaching other higher dimensions?
yeah, I'm trying to think of because I've never been. This is a good question because I haven't thought of this before. So as a medium, when you connect to the different levels, it's
Yeah.
different frequencies.
Yes.
So
I think that's what's meant.
loved ones
Yeah.
are a little bit of a lower frequency, easier to connect to, and then that goes and everything gets higher and higher. So I
Yeah.
connect to angels very easily, and not all mediums can, not all psychics can connect to angels easily as I do, because it's a very high vibration.
Yes.
And that vibration tends to be where I connect to the Arcturians easily.
Okay.
So I don't know who would be the highest frequency or the highest vibration for NHI. I don't think they like to think of themselves like that either. There's no hierarchy. There's only love and light where they reside. Um, so I mean, I say Arcturians a lot because that's who I work with. Maybe somebody else is working with Pleiadians more or Andromedans. Andromedans are more like the Nordics and the bipedal.
Yeah.
Probably looks a little similar to me with the blonde hair. So that's hard to answer, and that's why I was like kind of pausing and
Sure.
maybe stuttering a little bit on my response because they don't think of themselves as a hierarchy. They're all just one, and it's love and light. So
Yeah.
love is the highest vibration that
Yeah.
you could have. It's the highest vibration in the universe. So when you operate from that love, that would be the highest vibration of a being. Um,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what else. Okay.
No, great. Because actually you said something I never thought about. Because I didn't really dismiss the stories about, let's say, Arcturians or whatever, because, those are perfectly explained physical beings. They look like this, the skin is like that, and their ships look like that, and so on. But if you say you connect to them on a higher spiritual level, that makes it for me easier to understand, because it's just might be a form they take or they want to show, and so maybe they are more on a other plane, and when they come down or interact, and that's what we get. But I don't want to dive too deep into that. But the
Oh
other
no, you're
question,
okay. But I didn't answer one of the
yeah,
parts of the
the other
question
one was,
though.
why are not they showing themselves like
Yes.
on the street or whatever?
Yeah. And so I think that's because as a global civilization, we're not all on the same page yet. So we still have people shooting before asking questions.
Yes.
We still have, that nuclear threat of and are we as a US as a country, I mean it's a little bit tumultuous living here right now. It's not the best environment to be in. It's kind of scary. And so why would a civilization show up at this moment, especially globally, when they might be murdered before they could even speak or give a hug, or we have all these movies indicating they're invading and they're taking over, but when they've really been visiting for thousands of years, have they done that yet? No. So my question back would be, why would they come out right now? I don't know if I would.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. So let's pivot back to more earthly themes, and then we can conclude. There's one, Gunther said that you hinted on having negative experiences not with beings, but with persons, with protagonists in the whole field. You don't have to name names, but what kind of negative experience did you have with other people who are out on the disclosure path?
Yeah, that's some of what was addressed earlier with my clearance issue. People trying to discredit and slander me. And I don't mind saying names now. For a very long time, I didn't, but it is in the past. but it should also be addressed. When Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp attacked me, they attacked me twice. And, especially George, like, he's been a role model. He's well known. He's a journalist. He's just an amazing person. And when they attacked me, I was gutted. It hurt in many ways. I've met them. I met them in person. I have a picture with both of them. They came to a happy hour that I planned a few years ago, and Lou Elizondo introduced me to them. They never said the name. They didn't call me names then. They didn't call me a liar.
Yeah.
They didn't say the things that they have publicly said and attacked me on. And that has been a direct result of a lot of issues at work for me.
I see. Okay.
I still don't know really their motive instead of reaching out to me to talk, because I did talk with one of them on the phone multiple times that year, and they never reached out.
Yeah, this is kind
I
of
stayed
strange.
quiet.
Yeah.
I stayed quiet, and I felt it was important to stay quiet, to just let it roll, and the situation would die down. But it still comes up. And they attacked me. The second time they attacked me, one of my cats had just passed away. It was right after it was actually on New Year's Eve night. And it was like, there's no need for that. And the purpose of the attack wasn't even an important thing in the bigger picture of UAP disclosure. It wasn't even important. So to me, it just showed not everybody is about the truth, because they're getting a paycheck from what they do. I'm not. I haven't gotten paid for any of this. I don't make money. I risk my career every time I have an interview. I don't care about clicks and likes. I'm not an influencer on social media. I don't want to be an influencer either. So to me, it's just a matter of having a paycheck for them. And it's just really unfortunate that I lost a role model through what they did to me.
I don't try to be a neutral observer and trying to patch things up. That's up to them. But I think at least part of it was a misunderstanding. When you first came out and made your claims, they asked somebody else in their community about your task force involvement, and they didn't know you, which was logical, because many people worked on it, and you never claimed to be the leader of a team or something, or sitting at a desk with Jay Stratton or something. You were just part of the people working on the pictures. And I remember this actually, when George Knapp was very cynical about your first appearance, and talked about somebody who was claiming to be on the inside and wasn't. And I also didn't understand it. For me, to give the benefit of the doubt, it might have been a misunderstanding, because of course they have a lot of people, they know, they come out and claim stuff, and it's not happening. And the second part was about the jellyfish video, and I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
This is, and I also maybe it's not just I can't fix anything from here, but maybe you could find some time to find a way to talk to him, because I hold quite high regards, not diminishing what happened to you, quite high regards to both of them. All the hearings were orchestrated by Corbell. He brought all the whistleblowers to Congress, so they are somehow the backbone of parts of the disclosure movement. And maybe they make money off it. It might be, but it's hard to put them out of the picture, because they put out favor for the hearing, and they they appeared themselves and so on. So I don't know. So maybe the best. I'm an optimist too, you know. So maybe it's all a big misunderstanding, but maybe they have their own motives and thought it was a positive for them to slander you. I don't know.
No, I appreciate that, and I agree. It was very obviously
Mm,
a significant misunderstanding because if either of them watched any of my interviews, I am very cognizant of my words I use, and I've never said I met Stratton. I never have said I was a manager on things. Like it was so hurtful that they didn't even bother to do due diligence
yes.
to look at even one of my interviews. But
Mm,
again, I met them. I met them the year prior
mm-hmm.
to when they attacked me, and one of like it was I've talked with Corbell like on text message, and it was just I I do agree it was a misunderstanding, but they didn't need to do it a second time.
Yeah.
Like the first time sucked, but the second time they ended up attacking me a month later. Like
Yeah.
that was a little overkill. And that jellyfish video did not matter.
Mm. It's very strange because they seldom do that, you know. Besides, you know, Kirkpatrick, the lovely Mr. Kirkpatrick, or
Oh,
other people out there. You know what I'm referencing to?
I loved your sarcasm. Oh yes, I
No,
got
no,
that.
it's not mine. Unfortunately, there's a YouTuber, Cosmic Road, and he started to call every time he mentioned Kirkpatrick. He said Dr. Kirkpatrick, the lovely Dr. Kirkpatrick, and I nicked that and translated it to German. And every time when I mention Dr. Kirkpatrick, I said the wonderful Dr. Kirkpatrick, because this also works in German. And so yeah, but anyway, so this is a subject or object they put a lot of sarcasm to, and rightly so, and also Susan Goff, or however you pronounce them. And I
Yeah,
never understood why they put a target on you. It doesn't make sense
yeah.
to me. It's really strange.
I know, and I truly I'm trying to be cognizant of my words here because I that's what I do. I don't think if I were a man, I would have had the same outcome.
I didn't want to say, but it crossed my mind. Let's say it crossed
Mhm.
my mind. Yeah, it did. So to end on a more positive note, the last question I have is from Gerald, and he asked the current state of disclosure. You think that's what we get in the next time? That's what's going on, slowly drip, or is there something big coming up? Something big like a great video, a new whistleblower, something really putting an end to all the discussion, or is it just going to continue like now?
I've heard rumors of another whistleblower coming out. I don't know who it is. It's only rumors that I've heard, so I will remain hopeful for that. And I really don't know of what's coming. I mean, I'm in the same boat as all of you. I know that there's a few films that are being made to promote the psionics and a handful of things. So I really, for disclosure, I'm just going to remain hopeful that bigger and better things are always going to be released.
Mm,
I mean, the movie Disclosure Day, I loved I loved it so much. Was it all accurate? Of course not. It's a movie. But Spielberg just, oh my gosh, it was so good. There's also the Disclosure Foundation event in
yes,
DC on June 25th.
yes.
So I'm planning on attending that. And
Mm,
plus, when I attend these things, they're my friends.
mm,
There's all my friends that are
mhm.
there that I'm so fortunate to be a part of all this and to have met such amazing people. So I hope some goodness will be coming out of that as well, and the follow on from that. So, we've had a big few months with Disclosure, with the first release, second, third, Disclosure Day. We just had the event on Capitol Hill, which, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I took time off of work to join, because I wasn't going to join that
you've
this
been
week.
There? You've been
I
there?
was there. Yep.
I didn't see you. I also had some views of the people around, but I didn't see you.
I was if you were looking at the podium while they were talking, I was just to the left of that. I whittled my way up to having a good spot to watch. It was incredible. That was such a historic moment. I mean, there were so many international news agencies there as well. There was a couple of Arabic, there was a Spanish, there was, I mean, it just, it was so good.
Yeah.
How do you not respond from all of that? And and I'm asking, how do you, as in the administration and the government, not respond to this force that was up there? And it felt powerful, like watching all of them, and including the guys that are back on the back row with their sunglasses, and it was so good.
So let's hope something comes out of that. But why? Because you mentioned psionics. Do you have any information what's going on with Skywatcher? Are they planning to release something?
I have no idea about any of that. Unfortunately, when I was at Contact, I wasn't able to, there's the psionic asset team. I wasn't able to talk with them too much while I was there. They had the speakers very busy at Contact, so I barely had time to eat lunch most days. So that was one thing I wish I would have gotten more time with the psionic asset team, just to sit and talk and ask if they want a medium on the team, and if they've utilized a medium in a way that might help amplify their signals and what they're doing.
Because both of the leaders were in Soul Foundation, and I also talked with them. And at that time, they said that end of the year, beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year, they would put out something, but we're still waiting. And I think Gary Nolan said they're still vetting all the information. But there are a lot
I think that's a good thing to make sure, cross your T's, dot your I's, and then do that a third or fourth time before releasing data. And that's also, part of the scientific way. And big claims needs big evidence. So I appreciate that they're taking their time.
Well, for me, this wraps up. Thank you that you have been so generous with the time. If you don't mind, I would talk to you after we finish the interview just a little bit, if you still have time. But for now, is there anything else you want to say from your point of view?
I always love finishing with telling people to be kind. It's a good reminder, and it's easy to do. I know social media gets out of hand sometimes with the negativity, and the negativity takes energy, and it's easier to just keep scrolling or just to be kind. We're all humans. We all have lives behind this camera, and I just want to say, be kind.
That's great. Thank you. You know who also said that? Al Yankovic, when he was on the Colbert Show, he was asked, give a positive message in 5 words or something like this. And I'm butchering the first part, but he said something like, don't hate, be kind, repeat.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic.
I'm not sure about the hate part, but the other thing, especially repeat, was very memorable. So thank you for this coming from you. And I believe you're 100% authentic, and I'm really very, very thankful and glad that we had this conversation. So enjoy.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Enjoy the rest of your day and of your weekend. So bye-bye.
Bye to everybody.